Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. In today's video we'll be doing the What If Shane Walsh Survive series. Without further ado, let's get in. So we'll start off with the beginning, with the information. He was a King County cop before the show takes place. He had a grandmother, Jean, and was also best friend to Rick Grimes. We start off with the police chase happening the way it did. At the hospital happens the same, and we continue on to the farm, which is where the changes will be made. Carl gets shot, causing both Rick and Shane to get worried and they run for him. The run back ends up being the exact same as it was in the show, all the way to Herschel's house. Then would continue with Shane and Otis going to find medicine for Carl, which would end up almost being the same. He would then betray Otis and then leave him for dead, but he regretted it a lot more this time. He would tell Rick the truth instead of lying, causing Rick to be saddened by this and angered. Shane would then continue to cut his hair, but not to hide the piece of hair that was ripped out, but out of anger at himself for what he did, almost like a punishment to himself. He would hate what he did and would vow to do better, causing him to become better. Shane wouldn't hide anything. He'd immediately go up there and tell them about how much of a hero Otis was and how scared and of a coward that he ran. Rick would be a little happy that Shane went up there and said something. Shane would then find Lori later and tell her he's sorry for the things he's done, and she wouldn't forgive him. He would still help out with the well walker. Walking in the forest with Rick, he would continue talking about the past instead of bringing up anything about Sophia and more. When he finds Dale in the forest, Dale points the gun at him, as the picture states. Instead of threatening him or anything like that, when Dale questions what had happened the night Otis was shot, Shane would explain and tell him that he regretted it. Dale would then drop the gun like he did and then walk off. Barn scene would play out exactly like it did, with Shane angered and, well, pretty much exactly like it did. We pick up at right after the barn scene when Shane gets yelled at to get off the property, after of which he then goes to think about what has happened. Does he regret doing it? Maybe, maybe not. This scene would play out differently, with them not talking about Otis at first, but instead Lori. They would then get there and find out Randall knows where they are staying. This causes problems. Shane tries to kill Randall.
Not now. We'll win, Rick, win.
They end up fighting at each other for the same reason as they do in the show. But this one, they're not trying as hard. He takes the gun as he goes back with Rick to the farm. In this alternate reality, Dale gets attacked, and Daryl shoots him, just like he does in the show. Although, in this different reality, a horde is nearby, and they get drawn to the sound of the gunshot. Carl notices the walker and runs off to the barn to hide. Rick and Carl begin to talk about what's wrong. Carl tells Rick that it was his fault. But before Rick gets a chance to see anything, he sees something on the horizon. The farm gets set on fire. They run in every which direction. Shane survives. They group up on the highway, regain their ground, sleep the night. They set out in the morning on a journey to who knows where. A few months would pass. Shane is now helping Rick take over an abandoned house. After a little bit of traveling, they come across a prison, and they decide they'll have to take it. They succeed in doing so, taking the prison by control. Shane would be out watching the fence all the time, since he still felt alone. Shane and Rick would fight over Herschel's leg incident and the prisoners, Shane wanting to take them out, Rick wanting to give them a chance. Later, a Walker group gets out and attacks them. Shane's quick to pull out a pistol and shoot as many as he can before retreating. He would go try to shut off the generator with Rick. When he finds out Lori's dead, he runs off. Not into the prison like Rick will do, but he goes missing. He would then be fully angered, but then he'd think about it. He'd think about the young girl, the newborn, and he would change his mind on everything. He would care about her for Lori. As soon as they see each other again, Rick would be angry. He would yell at Shane. Shane would then say that he's also tired of the fighting, and he says how he will protect the child to the best he can. They would stop fighting for now. Shane would not trust Michonne, although he wouldn't do anything about it right now. Rick would not see Shane, but this time Shane would be on Rick's side, helping shoot the enemies, or the Woodsbury people. Later, when Tyrese and the others shows up, Rick loses his mind. Shane did think that it would be better for them not to stay, but even Shane got worried seeing Rick yell like that. The prison gets attacked. Shane's quick to respond by getting the shotgun and shooting as much as he can to give support. Shane would be a little surprised to see Andrea still alive. Same with her and him. Although she wouldn't get a word out of Shane the whole time. Later at the sit-down, Rick would not let Shane go with him to talk to the governor for their meeting. It was a time for war. Everyone prepared, including Shane, for the inevitable attack from the governor. Bullets went everywhere as guns started firing on the governor's squad. Gunfire and death everywhere. After it's all over, they group up. Then they go back to check on the others. Both Shane and Rick find out Carl had gunned down one of the kids. Shane was not as disappointed as Rick was, even though he knew that it wasn't really self-defense. Shane, Glenn, and Maggie stay back instead of going to attack the governor. Shane would not like Rick bringing in so many new people. He disagrees with Rick on this. Rick doesn't listen, of course. Shane is mad, but deals with it.